You ever notice how some connections feel electric at first? Texts flying at 2 a.m. Deep confessions by week 2. Highs so high you think, this must be it. And then, somewhere between the third argument and the fourth, are you okay? You feel tired, on edge, like you're bracing for impact instead of relaxing into closeness. Here's the uncomfortable question. What if what you thought was chemistry was actually nervous system chaos? What if the thing we chase hardest in relationships, emotional intensity, isn't what makes us feel loved, but what keeps us dysregulated? And what if the quiet, almost boring feeling we overlook, emotional safety, is actually the foundation our brains have been begging for? Let's talk about why emotional safety matters more than emotional intensity and why so many of us confuse the two. Pause for a second. Think about the relationships that left the deepest mark on you. The ones you still replay in your head. Were they calm or were they intense? Because for many people, intensity feels like proof that something matters, that you're alive, that you're chosen. But psychology tells a more complicated story. Let's start with a familiar character, the fireworks connection person. You meet them, and everything escalates fast. They mirror you perfectly. They get you. Conversations feel cosmic. You're finishing each other's sentences and trauma bonding over appetizers. It feels like fate. Underneath, what's often happening is emotional acceleration without emotional regulation. The brain is flooded with dopamine and adrenaline. Novelty, unpredictability, and emotional risk activate the same reward circuits as excitement. Your nervous system interprets that activation as meaning. But here's the catch. High activation isn't the same as safety. Your body might be scanning constantly. Did I say the wrong thing? Are they pulling away? Why does it feel amazing one moment and awful the next? If you've ever mistaken anxiety for passion, this might land a little too close. And maybe it's not just you. Maybe it's someone you keep choosing. Then there's another profile, the emotional roller coaster dynamic. This isn't just intensity at the beginning. It's intensity as the entire structure. Big love, big fights, big apologies, big reconnections. You're either on cloud 9 or walking on eggshells, nothing in between. Psychologically, this keeps the attachment system on high alert. Intermittent reinforcement, the same mechanism that makes slot machines addictive, creates powerful bonding. You never know when you'll get closeness again. So when you do, it feels euphoric. But emotional safety requires predictability. It requires knowing that expressing a feeling won't be used against you later. That conflict doesn't threaten abandonment. That love isn't something you have to earn back after every rupture. Without that, your body stays braced even during the good moments. When a relationship trains you to associate closeness with relief instead of comfort, your nervous system never actually settles. You're not bonding, you're recovering. Again and again. And here's the twist. Many people raised in emotionally inconsistent environments find this dynamic familiar. Not healthy, but familiar. And the brain often prefers familiar over safe. Then there's a quieter type, the peace feels boring mindset. You finally enter a relationship where nothing dramatic happens. No chaos. No emotional whiplash. You're not constantly decoding tone or timing texts. And instead of relief, you feel uneasy. You start wondering if something's missing. Where's the spark? Why don't I feel obsessed? This is where people often self-sabotage. They confuse calm with lack of attraction. But from a nervous system perspective, what you're feeling might be regulation for the first time. When your system is used to intensity, safety can feel like emptiness, like silence after years of noise. Your body doesn't know what to do without vigilance, so your mind creates problems to solve. Emotional safety doesn't spike adrenaline. It doesn't hijack attention. It doesn't make great stories at brunch. It shows up as consistency, repair, the ability to exhale, and that can feel deeply unfamiliar. Then there's another layer, the high empathy, low safety trap. This is where someone is emotionally expressive, vulnerable, and deep, but not emotionally safe. They cry with you, but can't hear feedback. They share everything, but collapse when you need support. They validate feelings until those feelings challenge them. So it feels intense, intimate, real. But safety isn't about how much emotion is expressed. It's about how emotions are handled. Do your feelings get met with curiosity or defensiveness? Are mistakes repaired or stored as ammunition? Can you be honest without managing the other person's reactions? That's emotional safety. And here's an important distinction. Emotional safety isn't the absence of conflict. It's the absence of fear during conflict. You can disagree and still feel secure. You can be upset and still feel connected. Finally, there's the secure builder, often overlooked, rarely glamorized. This person doesn't sweep you off your feet in a week. They build trust over time. They don't disappear when things get uncomfortable. They don't weaponize vulnerability. Being with them feels steady. You're not performing. You're not shrinking. You're not hypervigilant. Your nervous system learns it doesn't have to stay alert to survive the connection. And here's the psychology many people miss. Long-term attraction doesn't thrive on constant intensity. It thrives on safety plus novelty, not chaos. When emotional safety is present, your brain has the bandwidth for play, curiosity, and growth. Without it, all energy goes into self-protection. That's why relationships built on safety often deepen instead of burning out. Desire doesn't disappear, it matures. Less frantic, more grounded, less about proving, more about choosing. So why do we keep chasing intensity? Because intensity is loud. Safety whispers. Because intensity feels like being chosen. Safety feels like being accepted. Because intensity activates wounds we confuse with chemistry. And because movies don't make montages about calm nervous systems, but your brain and body know the difference. So here's the reflection I'll leave you with. Which connections in your life feel intense but leave you anxious afterward? Which ones feel calm but you've questioned because they didn't feel dramatic enough? And what would change if you stopped asking, do they excite me? And started asking, do I feel safe being fully myself here? If this resonated, sit with it. Because sometimes the most transformative relationships don't feel like fireworks. They feel like finally coming home. And once you feel that kind of safety, you realize something radical. Peace isn't the absence of passion, it's the space where real intimacy finally gets to breathe.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Hit the like button if this helped you.